Well, hello, this is Rochelle, and welcome to my channel. I'm going to share with you um, making my own. I don't even want to call it wood grain because it's not wood grain. It's just I'm loving the blended background using the brown and the burnt umber and the um, burnt sienna and like a sand bleached sand color. So it's got the red and the dark brown and the creamy color. And the way that I'm doing this, I've done this in Bible journaling, I've done this in mixed media, canvases, wherever. It's just such a fun technique, and I just find it so incredibly relaxing, and it doesn't come out the same all the time, and it has variances, and it's just a lot of fun. So this is a part of my The Great Coffee Chronicles series. This is the second volume that I've been working on, and I think we're on the 6th episode of the second volume. So it's very exciting, and I'm really loving sharing with you all the places that I've had coffee. And so yeah, I'm just working on a very plain, well, I'm saying plain background, but I want to show you that you can make your own background. It doesn't have to be, bought paper or whatever. I am using the 3 colors of acrylic paint. This is the Deco Art Americana acrylic paint with a flat brush that I'm just applying in long up and down streaks, dipping a corner of each side of the brush into the different colors of paint and then just blending it up and down. Find that longer streaks work better. I must be very honest. At first I thought it was just my one Bible that didn't absorb the paint very well, but I'm starting to think my brush has something to do with it, because my soft brush range from Faber-Castell, the Faber-Castell soft brush range, it has a green, I think it's a size 10 flat in, and that brush just blends this paint beautifully. And I found that this is the second time I've done a similar technique with this specific brush. And at first I thought it was the Bible's paper that just doesn't absorb the paint, but now I'm seeing that paper that I've painted on like this before, but with the green brush, worked way better. So I'm starting to think it might be the brush and not the actual paper or paint. So yeah, it's not exactly wood grain. Like I said, it's more of a, I don't know, wallpaper. Let's just call it that. And so once that's done, that's the other thing I really like about this Deco Art Americana paint, is that it just dries super quick. And so while I'm waiting for it to completely dry, I am cutting out this photo. This photo has a good story to it, in the sense that, well, I'll be telling you just now, and part of the reason why it's shaped like it is because of how and when it was taken. So it was a very oblong kind of photo, like panoramic almost, and not as much fit into a portrait or a square. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking some gold Winsor Newton ink, liquid ink, and I'm just applying it with a brush and then smearing it with my finger. So I'm blending it into the background with my finger. It just adds that little pop of shimmer to the background, and not overwhelmingly so it's not solid streaks of gold. It's just me blending it into some of the places with my finger and getting that little shimmer in there. I really do love this gold ink. It's one of my favorites just because it really has a lot of shimmer and sparkle to it. Yeah, so I need to keep reminding myself which side is top and which side is bottom, so that I don't have another upside down page in here. I did that in my first page of my first episode ever. So yes, back to the story. It's similar to the previous week's story in that it's the weekend that we went away for Valentine's Day. My husband and I go away for our Valentine's Day weekend every year. We usually go to Cullinan. This was just outside of Cullinan, and it was a beautiful place. Bottom line is, they had a massive storm. So in the previous episode, I told you about doing a little road trip while husband went mountain biking. I went to go speak at a get together, and by the time we got back, we wanted to put up a braai. They had a massive storm. This was in the middle of load shedding, when load shedding was still a regular thing. And they had a massive storm at around 4 o'clock that Saturday, and it knocked out the power all up until the time that we actually left, which was the Sunday afternoon at 6. So we were without power for quite a long time. And because we were road tripping, we obviously had our devices and things with us, so those weren't charged for a very long time, and we ran out of laptop battery power and phone battery power. And so on the Sunday morning, we decided we would go into Cullinan and stop at one of our favorite places there, Harry's Pancakes. This is a place that serves savory and sweet pancakes, and yes, they have really good coffee. It's actually the first time that I tried Sabi Valley coffee was at Harry's Pancakes quite a few years ago. So Sabi Valley is one of the farms in South Africa where they farm with coffee, Arabica coffee, and I did a tour with them, and it was just absolute beautiful fun. It was out in Hazy View in Mpumalanga quite a long time ago. Anyways, so I added some embossing, some gold embossing here, and how I did it was with a stamp of these roses that I wanted to put in the corners, and stamped it with Versamark ink, put the powder over, and then heat set it with a heat gun. You want to use a heat gun whenever working with embossing powder, because if you use just a hair dryer or something like that, it'll just disperse the air, so blow the powder away, as opposed to melt the powder, which is what you want with a heat tool. I'm using some of my alpha stamps. This is a gold color alpha stamp, or alpha sticker, sorry. And it was one of those kind of crazy store purchases, so it's got the weirdest combination of I think they just did it until it ran out of space at the bottom, so there's not an even number of all the letters. And so yeah, you saw me earlier take the gold metallic pit artist pen and kind of outline the photo on top of the white border. And then I'd hoped that it had dried, but I should have known, because it's on a slick plastic surface, so for it to dry it will take a bit longer. And I kind of smeared it when I stuck it down with glue, so I just decided I was going to smear it all along, and it got this nice vintage feel to it, the frame itself. I am spelling pancakes backwards just because I wanted to make sure that there was enough space for it. I didn't have enough A's, so I took a V upside down and just added some or a piece of the Z that I wasn't going to use and cut that, did some sticker surgery so that it would have a little stripe for where the A would be, which is then the upside down V. I'm going to journal my thoughts about this day, just the story about running out of power and going for coffee so that we could charge our devices a little bit. But it didn't work so nicely with the gold gel pen, so I ended up using a brown pit artist pen in an S nib, the super fine nib, to document what I wanted to document with regards to this day, and that worked out much better. I do like these S nib pens, and this is another reason why I like this Deco Art Americana paint, because it dries matte, and you can write over it without it clogging your pen or slipping, because it's a slick surface. When some of the acrylics dry slick or dry plastic looking, gloss, and that's difficult to write on, whereas with the matte of the Deco Art Americana, it's easy to write on top of it. Now, I didn't have any numbers in this alpha letter alpha letter set or stamp set, so I am just doing some surgery to B's and sticking Z's as 2's and O's as 0's to get the date down. I didn't want to stamp it, I wanted it to be a bit more pertinent, being our odd Valentine's weekend. It wasn't exactly on Valentine's this year. Husband bringing some ice cream means it's time to go. All done. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.